I'm Logan Crawford, and right now on Spotlight, we're taking a look at a terrific book, a powerful book, a book that just might change your life. It is called Light, Unleashing Your Greatness. It's written by a terrific man and a wonderful member of the clergy. His name is Pastor Eric Todd. This inspiring book combines personal experiences, biblical wisdom, and practical principles to help you discover your true purpose and unlock your true potential. Get ready to be motivated and empowered to embrace your destiny that has been marked for you. We're delighted to have this very talented author join us here today on Spotlight. We thank the team at Atticus Publishing for helping us put him in the spotlight today. And we ask viewers like you to support authors like him by subscribing to our channel and by purchasing his amazing book. The links are below the interview. Pastor, great to see you here today on Spotlight.
Thank you for having me.
This is a great book. I think it's going to be so uplifting to people, so empowering. It's going to help them find their true destiny.
That's
What
right.
inspired you to write the book?
I'll tell you what, Logan, what really inspired me was first God. I'm a firm believer that until people do what they're really marked and destined to do, they're always searching and yearning and longing. And so God said, you know what, let me help my people to really do what they're called and destined to do. And the great thing about it, Logan, is this. It doesn't matter who you are, doesn't matter what you've done, doesn't matter your social economic status or where you're born or your mistakes. God wanted me to tell people that I marked you for greatness, period. And so all those other things that kind of handcuff us are getting in the way. He said, it doesn't matter. I need you to understand before I formed you in the womb of your mother, you know what I mean? Before you had toes that could wiggle and fingers that could wiggle, I marked you to do something great. And so the book takes you through how do you do that great thing you're marked to do in spite of all the obstacles and roadblocks and hurdles that sometimes get in the way and prevent us from doing that great thing that I know we really, really want to do in life.
Exactly. We've got to break free from those limiting beliefs that tell us we can't and find the voice inside us that tells us we can.
That's
Often, like
right.
in your case, it's the Lord who inspired you to write this book. Share with us some of the practical steps to unlocking your true potential.
I would say to give you a few, I would say first thing I encourage the readers to do is, you know, you want to be committed to taking your relationship with God to another level, right? And you might be saying, well, why is that important? Because I've learned through life that anytime you're in pursuit of doing that great thing, you're always going to have things that are going to try to stop you and prevent you from accomplishing those great things. And sometimes those great things are in our mind, and sometimes those great things are tangible things outside of our control. And so I stress that take your relationship with God to the next level. So that's why the first chapter is like preparation. Because if you're not prepared to take a relationship to the next level, when you're faced with adversity, guess what? You're going to stop. And I don't want you to stop. You know, I want you to understand when you grow your faith with God, you'll be equipped to overcome the things that are going to try to stop you. And then another principle is once you grow your relationship, you have to stay there, right? So it's not just good enough to get to the top of the mountain. Once you get to the top of the mountain, that means you get to that level where your relationship with God is strong. You don't just um, abandon that position because I'm sure you know mountain climbers have said the wind blows stronger at the top. So when we get to the top, we have to expect that those forces that are going to try to stop us and discourage us are going to get stronger and stronger. So we want to make sure that we stay positioned, in that relationship with God. Does that make sense?
Absolutely. Absolutely. Nurturing a strong relationship with God will give you the strong foundation that you need to
That's
climb
right.
that mountain, to climb that hill, to get past difficulties and challenges that we all face in life, and to unlock that true potential that you talk about. What advice would you give to someone who needs to heal from past traumas?
Oh wow, that's a good one because one of my chapters is traumas.
Mhm.
And I would tell that person, um, you have to heal from your trauma, and if you want to do what God has marked you to do. And you might, and the viewers might be asking, why is that so important? Can I just kind of sweep it under the rug? Can I just ignore it? And I will tell that person no, because if you don't deal with it, as you're in pursuit of doing that thing that God has marked and destined you to do, your trauma will resurface and deal with you in a negative way. And it will show up and it will discourage you and tell you all the things you can't do. And you'll start believing the things of those traumatic experiences, and they will stymie you, and hinder you from moving forward. So I'll tell a person to deal with it. But here's the great thing: you don't deal with your traumas by yourself. I said, you're going to be dealing with them. You can deal with them with God.
Mhm.
And then when you're dealing with God, God may say, let me take you to a licensed therapist that can help you work through it. You know what I mean? But I definitely encourage that person, you have to deal with your traumas so you can move forward and do the great thing that God has in store for you.
Absolutely. Talk to us a little bit about your ministry and your work with the Transformation House.
Well, I say this, Logan. I'm a former accounting, NBA guy. And I will tell you about 17 years ago, God tapped me on the shoulder and said, I need you to come out of corporate America and I need you to do ministry. And I tell you what, I was kind of hesitant at first. And I went to one of my pastors. He said, now that you accepted this calling, I need you to go back to school. I said, I'm not going back to school. I'm finished with school. And he said, would you go see a doctor that never went to medical school? I said, absolutely not. He said, well, guess what? I believe souls of people are important. And the next thing I know, I'm in school, in seminary, not thinking that I'm going to plant a church.
Yeah.
But somewhere along this journey in seminary, God said, now I got you where I want you.
Mm,
Now I want you to plant a church. But I want you to plant a church that encourages, that empowers, that helps people to be the best version of themselves. And then fast forward 15 years later, he said, now I need you to write a book about it.
mm,
And so,
exactly.
we're a ministry that's big on just meeting people where they are, not holding their past against them, but just loving them and let them know your past doesn't define you. Your mistakes doesn't define you. It's about what you can do right now when you make God head of your life.
Exactly, exactly. Talk to a little bit about the role that family plays in your journey and your mission.
Well, I'll tell you what, Logan, if it wasn't for my family, my wonderful wife,
Mm.
and my three beautiful kids, it would be impossible
Yeah.
to do what God has marked me to do. And I would say I'm blessed to have a wife that supports me, who's always supported me, who said, okay, you're going to go from what to what? And I said, yeah, God wants me to do this. He said, well, if God said it, I'm going to support you. And I tell anyone that when God calls, he doesn't just call you, he calls the entire family. And so my wife and my children have supported me and blessed me. It's been ups, there's been downs. We've cried, we laughed, but as long as we remember that we're doing this for God, we've been able to move forward and look to what God has not just in store for me, but what God has in store for my entire family. So family is crucial
Yeah.
for what I'm doing.
And your family sounds like a true blessing in that they're so supportive of you and provide so
Yeah.
much love and nurture uh, the relationship that you have with them. It seems so reciprocal and so wonderful, that's for
Yes,
sure.
it
Tell us
is.
what you hope readers take away from this book, Marked.
Well, I hope readers take away from the bookmark is I want them to feel encouraged. I want them to feel healed. And I want them to feel excited because now they know that, you know what? I'm not defined by my mistakes. I'm not defined by what people say about me. You know what, my past traumas weren't meant to break me, but my past traumas were meant for me to use it as fuel so I can move forward and do what God has marked me to do. And as long as I continue to strengthen my relationship with God and stay in the right position and
Mhm.
stay desperate for Him at all times, nothing will stop me from doing what God has destined me and marked me to do. And so I'm just excited for that reader to know that the past does not define them. It's about what they do right now, and they can do it with this book titled Marked.
Exactly. We only have power over our present that will perhaps shape our future. The past is behind us. In
That's
many
right.
cases, it should be left there
That's
and,
right.
valued if it was something good in the past and, turned away from if it was something negative in the past. Talk to us a little bit about how readers can overcome distractions that can hinder their growth.
Oh, wow, distractions. Well, first, I would tell them this: don't listen to your distractions,
Mhm.
because understand the distractions are there to do just what the word says, to distract you, to take your focus and attention off the great thing that God has marked for you. And so, what I tell readers, are my family and friends, are people that I coach from time to time. I say, you have the power to not listen to that distraction. You have the power to not buy into the lies that tell you what you can't do,
Mhm.
tell you what God won't do for you. And so the first thing you have to do is don't listen, don't pay attention to them, because you'll be focused on them instead of being focused on the one, which is God, that will help you to move forward towards that great thing He has in store for you. So ignore your distractions.
Exactly. Keep your eye on the prize. That's what
That's
you need
right.
to do and ignore
That's right.
everything else. This is a
That's right.
terrific book. It's an empowering book. It's an uplifting book. It is called Marked, Unleashing Your Greatness. It's written by a terrific member of the clergy, a wonderful guy. His name is Pastor Eric Todd. This inspiring book combines personal experiences, biblical wisdom, and practical principles to help you discover your true purpose and unlock your true potential. It's a must read, highly recommended. Pastor, thank you so much for joining us here today on Spotlight.
Thank you. Thank you. Thanks for having me.
I appreciate your time. Great having you on the show. To the folks at home, I'm Logan Crawford, thanking you for your time. This time until next time on Spotlight.